want to get some insights now from Mona Eltahawy. She's an Egyptian-born commentator and Arab affairs columnist who joins me today from Chicago. Mona, thanks for coming on the show. I want to ask you, what did you hope to hear from Mr. Obama, and did you hear it?
Thanks, Randy, for having me on. I had hoped to hear more of a recognition of just how wrong and confused U.S. foreign policy had been towards the region for decades. And what I heard was that the U.S. administration is still trying to catch up with a reality on the ground that has outpaced everybody. For example, when he spoke about Egypt and the need to support Egypt's reform and this new dawn in Egypt, there was a missing sentence, and the missing sentence was that the United States continues to give $1.3 billion in aid to the Egyptian army. And Egypt right now is ruled by the Supreme Military Council. So there was nothing there. The Supreme Military Council is detaining people, is torturing people, and is putting people on military trial. When the president spoke about the religious rights of minorities, for example, Coptic Christians in Egypt and Shia Muslims in Bahrain, it was great to hear. But the missing sentence was that Saudi Arabia also violates Shia rights in its country, and Saudi Arabia has intervened in Bahrain, which he mentioned as part of the countries also going through reforms and uprisings.
Well, clearly this speech was meant for a global audience, but to what extent, if any, do you think that it was crafted with next year's U.S. election in mind?
Well, I think that, if anything, the speech was geared much more towards a local audience than an international audience, because quite honestly, people in the region especially know all of these things, and people internationally too. I think that an American audience needed to hear that the United States needs to realign its policies to recognize these realities on the ground. But here's something else that was missing that I think that a global audience understands. When the president mentioned the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, he didn't really say anything new, and what was missing, and what I would have wanted to hear, was a recognition that the uprisings and revolutions in the Middle East and North Africa are going to inspire, actually having themselves been inspired by a long history of non-violent resistance from Palestinians, and they in turn, these revolutions we're seeing, will inspire Palestinians, and we're seeing Palestinians now saying non-violently, we want our freedom and dignity. So the fact that Obama did not connect these two, I find very disappointing. So I would have wanted to hear much more, but I think for an American audience, it's a good start, but the U.S. administration still has a long way to go before catching up fully with what's happening on the ground.
Mona Eltahawy, as always, your insights much appreciated. Thanks for coming on.